At 16, my junior year at Oak Ridge High School in a sleepy Pennsylvania suburb felt like a maze of monotony until the day everything changed. The school was a massive, three-story labyrinth, buzzing with students and teachers, but it was bursting at the seams. To squeeze in every class, the administration had carved out 2 classrooms in the basement, a place we called the Vault. It was a cold, shadowy relic of the school's past, once a storage for mops and brooms, now barely lit by flickering bulbs. The air down there was heavy, thick with a damp, musty smell that clung to your clothes, and the concrete walls seemed to whisper secrets. That day, after lunch in 5th period, I trudged to my cosmology class in one of those basement rooms, unaware that I was stepping into a nightmare. The vault was a strange mix of allure and unease. Air-conditioned, a rare luxury in our sweltering school, it was a haven where classes felt easier, almost like a secret club. It even had its own restroom, a tiled hideout that felt like our own. But the isolation came at a cost. No intercoms reached the basement, cutting us off from the school's pulse. Morning announcements were a distant rumor down there. During cosmology, we had a quiz, a breeze for me. I finished early, my pen tapping restlessly against the desk. Boredom took over, so I texted my friend Noah, stuck in the other basement classroom. "Meet me in the restroom," I typed, craving a break from the monotony. His reply flashed back. "On it." I slipped out, unnoticed, my heart racing with the thrill of sneaking away. The restroom was just down the hall, its flickering fluorescent lights casting eerie shadows on the tiled walls. Noah joined me soon after, and we started messing around, exchanging silly jokes and impersonating our principal. The mood shifted when Noah checked his phone, his expression tightening. "Dude, I got a text. School's going on lockdown." My pulse quickened, but a sly grin spread across our faces. Neither of our teachers had noticed us leave, and the basement's isolation meant we hadn't heard any announcement. The idea of wandering the school during a lockdown felt like a thrilling game, like we were rebels in a high-stakes plot. We crept up the basement stairs, easing open the heavy door to the main floor. To our shock, the hallways were cloaked in darkness, the usual buzz of lights replaced by a heavy silence. Only faint beams from the entrance's glass doors cut through the gloom, casting warped shadows. Lockdowns typically meant dimmed lights, but this total blackout felt wrong, foreboding. My confidence faltered, but Noah nudged me forward, whispering, "Let's just take a look." We tiptoed down the corridor, our sneakers squeaking faintly. That's when Noah froze, pointing ahead. "Who's that?" he murmured. A figure emerged from the shadows, approaching us. At first, I thought it might be a staff member, but as he neared, his ragged appearance became clear. Worn-out clothes, tangled hair, nothing like the neat faculty we knew. My gut twisted. "We got to move," I whispered urgently. We bolted back to the basement, our footsteps echoing loudly. The man had definitely seen us. His eyes had fixed on us with an unsettling intensity. Back in the basement, both classroom doors were closed, lights off, signaling the lockdown was serious. Panicked, we ducked into the restroom, switching off the light to stay hidden. Crouched in the corner stall, we tried to stay quiet, our breaths short and shaky. The only sound was the occasional drip from a faulty faucet, each drop heightening the tension. Then the restroom door creaked open, and a sliver of hallway light pierced the darkness before vanishing as the door shut. Someone was inside, Heavy footsteps moved closer, paired with ragged breathing, as if the person had been sprinting. My heart pounded so hard I feared it would give us away. Noah, in a moment of desperation, leaned close and whispered, "We need to slide to another stall." His voice, though hushed, seemed to carry in the silent room. The footsteps halted. The breathing stopped. Then a hand tested our stall door, pushing against the lock. My blood ran cold. "Go now," I hissed. We dropped to the floor, crawling under the stall dividers, scraping our knees on the icy tiles. The man began banging on the door, the sound booming like a drum. We reached the far side of the restroom, scrambled up, and threw open the door. Light flooded in, revealing the man's silhouette in the corner, his eyes glinting menacingly. We sprinted to Noah's classroom, hammering on the door until the teacher yanked it open, his face ashen with worry. We tumbled inside, breathless, as the teacher bolted the door. Noah spilled the story, adding that he'd seen something threatening in the man's pocket, a detail I hadn't caught, but fear kept me silent. The classroom was tense, students huddled in the corner, their usual chatter replaced by anxious glances. A loud bang on the door made everyone jump, and through the small window we saw the man, his face pressed against the glass, twisting the knob. After a few furious slams, he turned and vanished down the hall. The teacher whispered questions, his voice quivering as he pieced together our account. We stayed locked in that room for what felt like an eternity, the silence broken only by the teacher's hushed inquiries. Finally, a call from upstairs directed us to file out to the main entrance, where police awaited. Noah and I described the man as best we could, his tattered outfit, his piercing stare. The officers listened intently, one giving me a reassuring nod before sending us home. The school later installed cameras and boosted security, but the incident stayed out of the news. I still don't know if they caught him, but the memory of that dark restroom stall lingers, a reminder of how close we came to danger. As a retired police officer with 20 years of service in Pennsylvania, I've handled countless calls, but none left a mark like the one from a middle school lockdown on a stormy afternoon. The sky was heavy with charcoal clouds, rain hammering the pavement when my radio crackled with an urgent order. A suspicious man had been seen stepping out of a gray van behind Crestview Middle School, name withheld for legal reasons, and slipping through a back door near the boys' gym. My heart raced as I sped toward the school, the windshield wipers barely keeping up with the deluge. I pulled into the rear lot, parking beside the gray van. It was empty, doors and trunk locked. No license plate noted in my rush. A mistake I'd regret. I entered through the blue door leading to the gym corridor, the air inside damp and thick. The school's lights were off, plunging the hallways into near-total darkness, save for the faint glow of emergency signs. My flashlight beam sliced through the shadows as I moved cautiously, the silence broken only by the distant drumming of rain. In the main office, a staff member emerged, her face pale as paper. She whispered that the suspect might be in the boys' gym and could be armed. I radioed for backup, my voice calm despite the dread pooling in my chest, and was told help was on the way. The gym door was just off the corridor, and I eased it open, my flashlight illuminating rows of metal lockers. The room was pitch black with no windows to break the darkness. A low hum from a ceiling vent filled the air, but beneath it, I heard faint, irregular sounds, scrapes, soft thumps, like someone brushing against the lockers. Protocol required me to announce myself, but the heavy atmosphere stopped me cold. My flashlight in one hand, my service weapon in the other, I crept deeper into the room, the beam darting across the lockers. The sounds seemed to shift, always coming from the opposite side, as if someone was toying with me. My nerves were raw, each step measured, my senses straining. Then a loud crash echoed from the adjacent wrestling team locker room, where larger lockers lined the walls. My heart jolted and I nearly lost my grip on my flashlight. Gathering my courage, I shouted, "Police, come out!" A muffled cry of "Help!" answered, followed by frantic pounding from inside a locker. My stomach churned. A child was trapped. I moved toward the sound, my beam catching the glint of a locker door. The boy's voice was desperate, muffled by the metal. I radioed again, urgency breaking through, then ran outside to check the van. It was gone. Cursing my error, I alerted dispatch to watch for a suspicious gray van and hurried back, instructing the office staff to end the school day and send someone with a key to free the boy. When the locker was opened, the 12-year-old stumbled out, pale and shaken but determined. He said a man had threatened him, trying to force him toward the van. The boy's defiance had saved him, but his wide-eyed relief stayed with me. A week later, the suspect's van was spotted at a convenience store, leading to his arrest after identification. The memory of that dark locker room, the boy's cries, and the unseen threat still chills me. During a solo trip to visit Pinewood University in Pennsylvania, where I was considering enrolling, I checked into a riverside lodge for the night. Traveling alone for the first time, I felt a mix of excitement and unease. After a long day of campus tours, I ate at a nearby diner, its neon sign buzzing and the smell of greasy burgers filling the air. I returned to my hotel room around 9 p.m., planning to rest before another campus visit. The room was typical: cream walls, a firm bed, and a faint scent of disinfectant. About an hour later, a shrill alarm jolted me upright. A white light flashed from a ceiling fixture, stark and jarring. Moments later, a recorded message began looping. "Attention Riverside Lodge guests, remain in your rooms. This is a lockdown." A hotel lockdown was new to me, sparking more curiosity than alarm. I imagined a minor issue, a disruptive guest, perhaps. The siren eventually stopped, but the flashing light persisted, pulsing every few seconds, and the message repeated intermittently. It was only 10:30 p.m., so I turned on the TV, letting a game show's chatter fill the quiet as I changed into pajamas and brushed my teeth. After turning off the room's lights and climbing into bed, I watched TV for another half hour, the flashing light growing increasingly intrusive. It cast sharp shadows, making it hard to settle. I was reaching for the phone to call the front desk when it rang, startling me. The voice on the other end was a woman from the front desk, her tone low and urgent. "Please stay calm," she said, "but you need to leave your room now. There's someone in there with you." My heart froze. I dropped the phone, its cord swinging, and scanned the room. The darkness felt alive, every shadow a potential threat. I checked under the bed, my hands trembling. Nothing. The bathroom was empty, the shower curtain still. Then my eyes fell on the closet, its sliding wooden door ajar by an inch. In that narrow gap, I saw the glint of eyes watching me. My breath hitched, and when the door slid shut with a soft click, panic surged. I bolted for the door, fumbling with the handle, and ran into the hallway, my bare feet cold against the carpet. At the front desk, the staff showed me security footage from earlier that evening. A man in his 40s, short and unkempt, had been seen wandering the halls, clutching a key card he shouldn't have had. The footage showed him pausing at my door, swiping the card and slipping inside. My stomach twisted as I realized he'd been in my room for over an hour, likely watching from the closet as I went about my routine. The police arrived and I watched as they led the man away in handcuffs. His gaze met mine, cold and piercing, as if he'd memorized my face. The thought of how close I'd come to danger in that quiet hotel room still haunts me.